If you want to memorize faster and think at a higher level, you need three things: mental sharpness, endurance, and depth. And I'm going to show you a very simple framework to improve all three areas and regain control of your own life. Now, we've all had times where we didn't get enough sleep and were too tired to think at a deep level, or you ate a really big meal and now you feel like a meatball with brain damage. And if I were to describe that feeling, it's like you're not feeling mentally sharp. And this is important because imagine your brain is a sword, and the goal or the task that you are trying to accomplish is this big monster that you have to slay. The issue is, your sword is dull because you're not sharp. And so when you try to fight this monster with a dull blade, when you try to sit down and work on a difficult task with a foggy brain, you're gonna lose. So how do we fix this? Well, you want to get your mind to a level where you don't feel mentally disabled all throughout the day. And you can achieve this by regulating the two factors that I mentioned earlier. It's no secret that sleep plays a critical role in the quality of your thinking. I focus on just two things when it comes to sleep, and it's worked wonders for me. The first is sleeping and waking up at relatively the same time every single day. You create a consistent sleep schedule to help your body clock predict when you're going to wake up, and you'll get rid of the discomfort of falling asleep and waking up miserable. The second thing I try to do is to make sure that I get at least 7.5 hours of sleep every single day. Now, some people might need more, some people might need less, but don't be one of those people who gaslights yourself into thinking that you can survive off of less. Start at 8 hours, give it a week, and adjust if you need to. In terms of diet, carb-heavy meals can make you feel sleepy because they spike your blood sugar and put you into this rest and digest mode, which is part of the reason why that you always feel tired after eating a really big meal, or you feel a little bit sleepy in the afternoons. For reference, foods like rice, pasta, fries, and pizza are all high in carbs. Now, this doesn't mean that you should never eat those foods, and I don't expect you to ever stop, but my point is you should be a little bit more conscious about the volume of carbs that you're taking in, especially if you know that you're going to work afterwards, because that's going to have an impact on your brain. And so if you lock in on those two components, there's a very high chance that you're going to feel a lot more capable. But fixing your sleep and your diet isn't going to make you any smarter. It just gets rid of all the debuffs that you have. And so going back to our sword analogy, our weapon is now sharp enough to damage the monster. But what happens when the sword breaks after your first strike? This is where mental endurance comes in, or simply put, your attention span. How many times have you tried to sit down, ready to work, only to find yourself watching some bullshit 5 minutes later? Right. You can't do big things or grow if you're constantly switching tasks every 5 minutes. So the system that I always come back to whenever I want to fix my attention span consists of three things: elimination of alternatives, reducing baseline stimulation, and gamifying focus. I get rid of all the distractions in my room and lock my doors, and sometimes even find a new place to work just so I can minimize the possibility of being distracted, because eliminating these alternatives will make it easier for you to focus on the thing at hand. Then I try to be as unstimulated as possible throughout the day, which means not watching a show while I work, not scrolling while I wait to catch the bus, not listening to music while I walk. And it's one of the most painful things out there to do, but I think it's really important because it lowers the standard for what's stimulating and gets rid of that insane boredom you feel whenever you sit down and try to work at something. At least, that's been very true for me. And finally, I bought a little kitchen timer to help keep track of how long I work. And it's been very, very helpful for me because, as someone who used to play video games a lot, uh, keeping track of how long I work and trying to get the numbers up has been a little kick of extra motivation whenever I want to take a break or quit. It's especially helpful for keeping me accountable because now I have to pause it whenever I know I'm gonna take a break or go to the bathroom or just not work. And so this has been very, very useful for me. There's probably other ways you can do it, but a timer helps me. And to be clear, doing these things isn't going to turn you into Master Oogway who can meditate for 500 years, but it's going to make a big difference in how long you can focus on a single task. And that's going to be a prerequisite for trying to learn, trying to grow, and trying to do an excellent job on tasks. So at this point, our sword is sharp enough, and it's not going to break after one swing. We're focused. But what happens if you don't know how to swing the sword properly? This is the final category to my framework for improving cognitive ability, and it is mental depth. It's always hard to think at a deep level, make strong connections, and filter through many layers of nuances and complexities. And a person who doesn't naturally gravitate towards those things is going to think it's impossible. It's like saying, how can I fly if I don't know how to fly? And the way I think about training mental depth is to give myself as many opportunities as possible to think critically. And the two recommendations that I have and personally use are limiting my use of AI and picking up a creative/reflective outlet. I try to completely finish the first draft of my task before I feed it into AI to help me evaluate and give feedback. I need to get into the habit of dealing with the discomfort of being creative and thinking of my own ideas so that I can become a more competent and valuable human being. You want AI to improve what you already have, not think for you. On top of not taking cognitive shortcuts, I actually try to do more reflection and ideation through a creative outlet. Now, for me, this comes in lots of different ways. I like writing, I'll write memos to myself occasionally. I'll also do a lot of writing for the scripts of these videos to try and think of creative metaphors and analogies to better teach you guys. And so, for me, the creative outlet has been content creation and writing. And to be fair, I think writing is a very, very good place to start, whether it's just journaling or thinking of ideas to maybe pursue your goals or just making sense of your life. It doesn't have to be those things, but you should try to find something that encourages you to engage in deep thought and challenges your brain. Now, at this point, you're probably feeling a little overwhelmed because there's just so many things going on and you don't know where to start. And I want to preface this by saying that you don't have to follow every single tip that I've listed in this video. And don't get me wrong, if you follow all of them, you're probably going to be better off than if you were just to follow one or two. But I understand that it's very, very difficult to try and do everything at once, only to realize that it's too much, quit, and then never touch it again. And so I would encourage you to start by just picking one tip from each category: depth, endurance, and sharpness, and just work your way from there. Give it a week for each single category and, stack it up. And I think that a lot of times you'll find more use in just starting and doing something small than trying to go crazy with it. And so, if you enjoyed this video, if you found it useful, let me know in the comments, and I hope to see you in the